Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name's Luke, and in this video, we're going to be breaking down my top 5 hotspot suburbs for 2022. Now make sure you drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel. Before we jump into these hotspot suburbs, I don't know you and I don't know your personal situation, so make sure you seek professional advice from a trusted advisor or a accountant or lawyer or anyone other than a guy on YouTube to help you with your property journey. Now let's dive into these 5 suburbs for massive growth in 2022. The first pick on my list is Geebung. Now Geebung's located approximately 12 kilometers north of the Brisbane CBD, and properties there range from about $750,000 up to around the $1 million mark at the moment. The area is centrally located towards the Brisbane CBD, and it's got access to some great parks, shopping precincts and transport hubs. Some of the areas in Geebung are hilly and elevated, and some of the areas actually have view access of Brisbane's Bayside. Now the great thing about Geebung, and one of the reasons I really like this suburb, is that it actually has 2 train stations within the heart of the suburb. One more to the northern side and one right on the bottom of Geebung's border, a little bit closer towards the Brisbane CBD. So that means locals can jump on the train and quickly make their way into the CBD if they're looking to go to work there. Now the Brisbane Metro line will also run out past Chermside, which is only 1 suburb away. And the great thing about Chermside, which is quite close to Geebung, is that you've also got a massive Westfield there, so there's a huge amount of shops, and Geebung's also got its quite quaint and little local shops there as well. They're quite large houses in these areas, as Geebung was more of an established suburb in Brisbane, and I think there's some quite value investing to be had in Geebung if you're looking to hold for the long term. Now let's take a look at a pricier suburb on the south side of Brisbane. This suburb is called Fairfield. Now when we're looking at Fairfield and Geebung and these types of suburbs, we're looking for the ripple effect taking place. Suburbs a little bit further in or with a bit more affluence have gone up in price so significantly that we're looking for value on the fringe of these suburbs. So, using Geebung as an example, you have Nudgee nearby, and this next suburb, Fairfield, has Dutton Park and Highgate Hill just on its border. The great thing about Fairfield is it has a wonderful little shopping complex, it has a train line, it has a smashing bakery nearby which borders Fairfield and Yerongobilly, so go check that out. And the real reason I really like Fairfield is there's some decent sized blocks between 400 and 600 square meters that can be walking distance to the local shops and not far away from the local train station. The suburb is quite small in terms of size. There's definitely pockets of opportunity there around the $800,000 mark up to the $1.2 million price point. Fairfield is also nearby the University of Queensland, the Green Bridge, which allows people and buses to cross to the University of Queensland quite quickly from Dutton Park, and it's also very close to the new school called Brisbane State Secondary College. The Princess Alexandria Hospital is also close by, so in terms of renting out a property there, I don't think there's going to be any vacancy issues with access to the hospital, access to the university, and access to the CBD. So Fairfield is a great pick for, in my opinion, and that's why it's number 2 on my list this year. Now let's move up north, back along the Bayside, and there's been heaps of chatter over the last 12 months about Brisbane's Bayside, both on the north as far up as Redcliffe, and on the south side when we're looking at Wynnum and Wellington Point, and as far down as Redland Bay. Now the pocket that I've picked as a major suburb for 2022 is Brighton. Now why Brighton? So there's lots of talk of the Redcliffe Peninsula and Margate and Clontarf, and I think there's been a lot of hype into those areas. I think there's actually more value spending a bit more money and buying in towards Brighton. It's the cheapest suburb bordering Sandgate. Now Sandgate typically tends to be a little bit pricier, over the $1 million price point, but you can still get into Brighton less than $1 million, anywhere between $800,000 to $1 million for a reasonable sized block, and there's still some renovated properties in Brighton. I think that Bayside lifestyle is going to continue to have an appeal, and over the long term, you can't get any closer to the water. Now, keep in mind, if you're looking along the Bayside, you need to check out your flood maps, which you can jump onto Brisbane City Council online and dive in and look at your address really quickly. What this will tell you is if you're buying within walking distance of the water, say within a couple of 100 meters, you're very likely to have flooding issues at some point in time. So definitely do that as part of your due diligence. But the great part about those coastal properties is there's scarcity of land, which really means you can't get any closer to the water, and there's likely to be long-term demand for those locations. Now, here is my affordable pick for 2022. So if you don't have $700,000, $800,000, $1 million plus to buy in the Brisbane market, this suburb is called Meadowbrook. Now, Meadowbrook isn't actually within Brisbane City Council, it's situated in Logan City Shire. It's around 28 kilometres south of the Brisbane CBD, and it's at a more affordable price point between the $500,000 to $700,000 price point. So although it's in Logan, and I know Logan's a bit of a dirty word when people are talking about investment properties, maybe check out Meadowbrook as a more affordable option. It's located close to the Logan Hospital, which has had some upgrade works to its car park and facilities. It's also got the local Griffith University and TAFE nearby. There's a golf course close by, and Meadowbrook has gentrified over the last 5 to 10 years. It was a housing estate back in the late 90s, and there are some smaller sized blocks in that location, so be wary that you're not buying too smaller sized piece of land. I would typically be looking for 500 square meters plus, and the larger land component you can get, or land value, the better you'll be over the long term, as in my opinion, land appreciates and buildings depreciate over time. The great part about Meadowbrook is that even though it is situated 28 kilometres south of Brisbane, it's not too far away from the Gold Coast. It's got access along the Logan motorway out towards Ipswich as well. So it's really in that sweet spot going north to the Brisbane, south to the Gold Coast, and west to Ipswich. So I really like it from a location point of view, from an amenities point of view, and so it might mean great buying in 2022. Now, if you've stuck around this far, make sure you leave a like, and I'm going to reveal to you my last suburb, or suburbs in this case. I'm going to give you an extra one for sticking around, and that is Capalaba and Alexandra Hills. Now, we've been buying in Capalaba and Alexandra Hills over the last few months, and we've definitely seen some great buying in recent times. You can buy properties as low as $600,000 and up towards the $850,000 to $900,000 mark. Now, why am I talking about Capalaba and Alex Hills? They were typically considered as a lower socio-economic area 10 years ago, but there's been a lot of changes in the area, and there are some huge lifestyle opportunities too. It's situated around some great schools, only a few kilometres from the Bayside on the south side of Brisbane. I might add it's only 12 kilometres from the Brisbane CBD, which is pretty exciting. And there's some railway network north of Capalaba and Alex Hills, which allow people to drive to train stations and then catch the train on their way into the city. The shopping centres have had some new restaurants join in the last few years, like Guzman and Gomez, and they've had some upgrades to their infrastructure and the development going on there. It's really a family-friendly area that I think has gone through its gentrification phase and is now moving into a real sweet spot between cash flow and potential capital growth. Now, like I said, I'm just some guy on YouTube, so drop a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and check out my video here for my picks in 2021 for the top 5 hotspot suburbs. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.